first off, I know this is maybe a rough part of the agenda just because we've had so much we've taken in, okay? And particularly a topic like this, it can be tough because it's really easy to sort of round up what people do to just being their personality. Very easy to round up like, okay, Brett has his personality, Seth has his personality, Kelly has her personality, Chelsea has her personality. And so it feels like a lot of that's not like replicable. It feels like it works because of who they are. And by the way, sometimes that's true. We talk about that in manager land of just some things are program driven and some things are personality driven. So like my goal through this is just to try and kind of do a little stream of consciousness here, maybe share a few lines, but just share my perspective. And my goal is maybe to help challenge y'all to have a perspective. That's basically it. Not even necessarily to share mine, but to have sort of an articulated, intentional perspective on how you try to connect with your customers. Guys, I built an entire career out of just connecting with people. That's it. I'm not the best at anything. I work a lot. I spin a lot of plates, but I just have done a good job of connecting with good people. Good job of connecting with people like y'all. So you put up with me and who I am. I'm extremely secure in who I am. I'm loud. I'm abrasive. I'm obnoxious. Okay, I'm like the big bald guy. These are things that are just true about me, but it's authentic. It comes from a sincere place. But I also try to be thoughtful. I try to be a problem solver. I try to be someone that can connect people to resources. Like these are things that are really important to me. And because I have a really strong sense of my own professional and personal identity, I think it's easier for me to sort of connect with customers on that level. So that's what I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about here today. But guys, the reason I think this is so important is connection leads to customer retention. When you connect better to your customers, it's easier to uncover real objections and problems. That's a huge thing. By the way, when you're connected to your customers, they respond differently to your marketing and advertising. Isn't it weird that we all use a lot of the same marketing services and a lot of times we get drastically different response rates? Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, by the way, connections gives people more patience and grace when you make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. I try to put ego as much out of my life as I can. I don't always succeed, but I'm pretty quick to be like, I fucked up. I apologize. That was my bad. And people give me a lot more grace and freedom because they feel like I'm sincerely trying to work in their best interest because I made that effort to really connect with them. And by the way, even connecting with you guys, all the time we spend together, that's an investment. That's putting coins in the bank. And there's times where you have to make withdrawals, and that's tough. Even tough things are made better when you can connect on a more deep and authentic level. So let's talk about what are the things we always say, like me, know me, trust me, pay me, right? Okay, by the way, that's such a great framework. There's a book by Tim Saunders called The Likability Factor. If you're a reader, you should read that book. It's a really good book. It makes really great sense. He basically talks about at his company, he said, if I have the choice of promoting two people and both are equally competent, both will do a very good job, but one is really good at sort of connecting with other people and just like working well with different types of people, and one isn't. Who am I going to promote 100% of the time? That guy. So if you think likability is not a professional competitive advantage, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. Okay? We have some likable people in this group. We got some likable people. We got some charismatic people in this group. But I'm going to be honest, just one of my personal drums that I kind of beat with people individually is a lot of y'all are really good at the like me part. How good are you at the know me part? I got to be honest. I think a lot of our team sort of lean back on charisma versus connection. Now, don't get me wrong, charisma is valuable. And I think charisma is a learned thing, for the record. I really do think it is. Some people are more introverted. Like my wife is very introverted, but she still has sort of a natural charisma to her. And obviously I'm completely biased. I get that. But people do connect well with her. But how well are you on the really know me part? Because I think most of our team and most of our company, if they're honest, we say that, but it's kind of bullshit because we're a like me, trust me, pay me company. That's what most of us are. Okay? And that's why most of our relationships with customers are transactional. We say the things we need to say to go ahead and connect enough with them to complete a sale and a transaction in that moment. Now, that doesn't mean that we will never sell to those people again. Of course, we'll still get more sales because it was a good transaction. And that's not always a bad thing. Some people are just super builder. They don't want anything more than that. Okay, good. Meet them where they're at. That's not a bad thing, guys. But if that's the only tool in your arsenal, I would question the way you're approaching certain things. Does that kind of make sense? But y'all know it's true. We're very much a like me, trust me, pay me company. We want to act like that, but how are you really known by your customers? And how can you be known by your customers without fucking up the flow and timing of the very limited amount of attention a customer is going to give you in this kind of setting? Does that kind of make sense? Guys, Curtis is an incredibly efficient salesperson, and yet his customers are fiercely loyal and they love the experience of working with Curtis. Curtis connects with the people where they feel known and they feel like they know him. Okay, because they'll come to the fair and they're like, Where's Curtis? And I'm like, he's at the Strawberry Flying Balloon Festival. I don't know where Curtis is, okay? But I do know he'll be here next week. But hey, I'll take care of you. I love spending Curtis's money. Like, no, we gotta wait for Curtis. And I'm like, fuck you. No, that's not likable. Don't curse at people, all right? So what are you doing so people know you better? Okay, what is your perspective on that? What do you want people to know about you? How's that? I know exactly, in 2 words, I know what I want people to feel about me. I want them to know about me. The 2 things I want them to feel about me are warmth and competence. That's it. I figured that out 7 years ago. Those are the 2 things I want them to feel in their interactions with me: warmth and competence. Warmth, because it makes them more likely to engage with me, particularly the way my sales cycle works. Like me, Tom, and Chelsea are somewhere on a mountaintop being like, no, it's long, but my average order is $900. Okay? That's all right. Like we can be efficient too, but we take time with people, and I think that warmth is part of it. But the competence matters too. I don't want to just be like a nice guy that was friendly and they just walk away from and say, I'll think about it. I'm here to close some sales and do business with people. But that's it. I want them to feel warmth and competence. Those are the 2 things, and those have been my 2 things for 7 years now. If you had to write down the 2 words that you want people to sort of feel in their interactions and experience with you, what would those be? And do you know? The reality is most of you probably don't, but maybe you should. Think about that for a second. What would be the 2 things you hope people know about you? Do you have a philosophy? Because I think a lot of that sums up your own professional identity. I really believe that. Now, how can you accomplish that again without losing focus on scripts, without wasting the limited time you have with people? How can you make people feel seen and known? Well, the reality is, guys, there's a lot of shortcuts to communication and story. When you think about this in the context of story and storytelling, me wearing a brisket shirt is part of story. It just sort of informs them like who I am, just from a personality standpoint. People smile, they laugh. When I wear my stupid Golden Girls shirt, stay golden, people are always like, ha, and I'm like, are you staying golden? And these old people are like, oh, you? And I'm like, no, thank you for being a friend. Okay, and it's just whatever. It's dumb, but it fits my personality. Now, does that mean everyone needs like weird novelty t-shirts? No, it doesn't, okay? Some of you guys, you will connect better with people like from a professional setting, because part of yours might be like professionalism, because maybe like you're working with businesses and there's a certain way you need to be seen and perceived to most effectively communicate with them. That is not even just defensible. That's awesome. That's awesome. But there should be some thought behind it. I don't think there needs to be thought behind every aspect of your wardrobe, but like me wearing that shirt informs people about myself. The fact that I always tell people I've been here 19 years, I work that into my approaches very quickly, very quickly. Okay, like that's something I want them to hear early on, because that helps reinforce confidence. Guys, the fact that I can quickly bring up my wife and kids within the flow of scripts, the fact that I can connect to the cities they live in, it's goofy, but like, how do you know the area? Like if you're coming in, like, do you know what part of town people are in? Just like simple stuff. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. Wow, you're in Fort Worth. Man, I hear the stock show there is really cool. Do you guys ever go to that too? I'm hoping I saw so much at the fair, they want to bring me back to that, because Texas seems pretty fun. That's a way to connect with people based on where they're at. Everyone's favorite topic to talk about is themselves. So if you can get them to open up through short, controlled bursts of interaction and communication with people, I think that's key. When I get a chance through the script to talk about the petite Santoku, like me being able to say, man, my wife keeps 2 of that in our block because that's her favorite piece. In fact, we double up on a lot of our favorite pieces because, we use our Cutco every day, a couple times a day. That's a way of reinforcing story and being known by them as kind of part of my brand, which is having a family and using this stuff as well. I think that's key. You need to keep the experience focused on the customer for sure. But guys, when you're using questions, you want to find where they are just sincerely at and try to find commonalities with that. Body language is key. A lot of us are really bad at body language, really bad at body language. My in-laws, and they don't do this to be snarky, they just honestly think it's funny, but anytime they see Cutco booths at Canton, they go to the State Fair a bunch of times, they always take a picture if they see everyone down on their phones. And they always send it to me. And they're not doing it to be dicks, they're just like, oh, your people must be tired. And I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna yell at them. So when we think about body language, okay, here's the thing with body language. When you take a mask, okay, when you put a mask on, and like if you wear a hat like me, I'm like selling like a ninja, okay? How expressive can you be with your eyes, with your body language? Josh says the high fives, and I've heard some people laugh about that, but guys, it's energy and movement and life and connection. There's a reason he does it, and there's a reason it's effective. And if some people roll their eyes at him, what are they rolling their eyes at? Well, they're rolling their eyes because they don't want to do that, but it doesn't necessarily negate what they feel about him. There's a guy that has a lot of enthusiasm and confidence and energy. And do you think that pushes people away, or is it more likely to draw them in? I think most people are more likely drawn in by enthusiasm, confidence, and energy. This is all rapport. Like again, rapport is not just how do you chit chat with people. Rapport is how do you make people feel. Mirroring and matching is good, but I think a lot of us, when we try to like hardcore mirror, I think we end up just like parodying our customers. I watch that sometimes when someone at the booth, like when a customer is like a leaner, and then the rep like leans, and y'all are just like doing a face-off thing, and I'm like, what are we trying to accomplish right now? Like, it becomes this weird dominance thing. Okay, I think mirroring and matching is effective more in what I'm going to communicate, more so than how I'm going to communicate, because I can't really change how I'm going to communicate. It's taken me 39 years to be effective communicating in the way that I do. Does that make sense? I talk really fast, I'm loud. Like, I found ways to channel that and make it work for me. I'm not that great at flipping on a dime, but I also know that if someone is very builder and direct, I can match that in what I'm communicating, but I'm not super going to change the way I do it. Now, I'm not telling you y'all shouldn't do it, but I just think that a lot of people, when they try to mirror, they just sort of take themselves out of their own like state of existence and being, that they're most confident and present and empowered, and they're trying to put themselves in another one, and it's almost like you're playing from behind from the very beginning. And I don't think that's a smart decision strategically. Da 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 da. Guys, watch your body language. Smile with your eyes. Be expressive, okay? But do it within your personality. Rob Steiner doesn't need to flail everywhere like I do, but he does need to make sure he finds a way that works for him.